Hello, this is Jessica with Fulfilled and Abundant, and today I get to interview Rebecca Massoud. I am so excited to interview Rebecca. She has been my coach for 5 years maybe, and I think Rebecca's incredible. I absolutely love Rebecca. And so I wrote out a little intro about you. Rebecca has started her professional career in marketing, but she was always soul-led. She has coached many, many women and helped them achieve six-figure incomes by doing what they love. And I know a lot of these women personally, and they are incredible and successful, and it's amazing to see the evolution that Rebecca has facilitated. And Rebecca has also created the workshop that is called Speak, Shine, Sell. It's a really fun workshop that I have done. And it helps you to create the message that is from your soul to attract your ideal client and help you to receive your ideal price. And Rebecca has a secret warrior skill. It is compassion and knowing. She facilitates incredible breakthroughs in a very gentle and loving way. But the result is ultimately that you get the results you want in your life. So can we start with childhood?
Yeah, wow, that's good. Yes. Thank you for that introduction. So happy to be here with you, Jessica.
Yeah, thank you. So as I was listening to all your stories from your amazing podcast and, from knowing you, a lot of your life was like a soul calling. It was speaking to you. And I'm so curious, when did that first start or first become obvious to you? This turning inward, because that's not a common thing.
Yeah, I would say it really started in my early 20s is when it's like the conscious light bulb turned on. And I had graduated from college, and I had met this wonderful group of friends. It was a co-ed softball team. So it was guys and gals. And what's significant about is that this was one of the first times that I had male friends.
Oh, okay.
And so that was something new for me. In high school and college, I never really had male friends. And so I was part of this softball team, and we were in our early 20s. So what did we do? We played softball and we partied. So I was a party girl. And most Friday and Saturday nights, we would go out dancing and drink. And I was just like having the time of my life. And I kind of like to be a show off and would, drink and say I can just drink people under the table and just, can you imagine?
Yeah.
And so I was living the party girl lifestyle. For the most part, I was within reason. I wasn't like way out of control, but I was having a good time. And I remember Sunday afternoons would roll around, and I would feel depressed after the full weekend of being with my friends. And then I was now alone in my apartment and faced with a work day the next morning. And I started just kind of going to this place, or this question that came to me was, is this all there is? Like, is this my life? And that question really stayed with me. And I I started talking to a couple of friends and just sharing with them that I'm noticing I'm feeling a little depressed, and I'm feeling like there's something more in life. I think this is a common thing. I'm imagining, I know you've got, I think it's something we all go through. Like there's got to be something more to, and I feel really, really lucky that at such a young age, that I discovered something more. So I started sharing with a couple of friends, and one friend said, oh, how about listening to this motivational speaker? And at that time, it was a cassette tape. So I'm really dating myself. This is in the early 90s. And that's, we had cassette tapes.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. And so she gave me a cassette tape of a man, a motivational speaker, a man by the name of Jack Canfield.
Okay.
And this is before he became really famous with his Chicken Soup for the Soul series. He wasn't even that well known. So she gave me this tape, and I remember I would listen to it and play it in my car and listen to it over and over. And I started like, wow, I'm starting to feel better. And then another friend, I shared with him, and he came over and with a box full of Tony Robbins cassette tapes. And I started listening to Tony Robbins. And so both of those, it's like something started shifting for me. And I was sensing like, okay, there is more to life than just going out, hanging out with my friends, partying, going to work. I liked my job. Okay. It wasn't I don't think it was, I was really that passionate about it, but it was a good enough job. And I have to say, Jessica, though, the most pivotal time for me in my younger years, or what really, when things started really to shift and snowball, is a friend of mine, a new friend. I met her, and she started talking about a church that she went to. And immediately my judgment went up. And I was like, oh God, not a church girl. I had grown up already in church, and I'd had a lot of dogma and ways of living, very Christian beliefs imposed on me. And when I went off to college, I started thinking for myself and realized, well, no, this doesn't really work for me. And so when she said church, immediately my red flags went up, and I went, church. But something about the way she talked about her church had me intrigued. And so I thought, I'm going to go check it out, because I'm a curious person and I wanted just to go and check it out. And it was a unity church. And I don't know if you're familiar with unity, but it's part of the New Thought movement.
Oh, okay.
Unity, there is the other one, which is, what's it called? Center for Spiritual Living. Mm-hmm. And people like Wayne Dyer, he's someone that no longer living, but he would speak often at unity churches, or Marianne Williamson has spoken. So it's leaders and kind of new thought leaders and spiritual teachers that are not about a particular way, like this is the way or this is the only way, but are more here, that are here teaching and illuminating love or divine love. And so I said yes, and I walked into this unity church in Dallas. And
I think I know where it is.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I think we had a hotel very close to that.
Oh my God. Okay.
I feel like I've walked past it before.
It's quite possible. It's on Forest Lane. It's a big church. And I walk in and I sit down and sit through the service. And it was just this immediate sense as I'm sitting and listening to the message, and someone takes us through a meditation, and I'm hearing the message, and it was this sense, and at one point I'm crying, and it was this feeling of, oh my God, I'm home. I've come home. And what I heard that day, which I don't really remember the content, but it was more about the feeling of this is home. This is a new way of living for me. And from that moment, I was hooked. I started meditating. I started journaling. I think I was already journaling a bit, but I just increased or intensified my journaling. I started seeing a spiritual counselor. I started yoga at that time. I think I was about 22, 23, something like that. And reading books, lots of books. Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, lots of different authors. I'm not remembering all the names, but it was like this whole new world opened to me, this spiritual world, not a focused Christian mindset, but a holistic unity consciousness mindset open to me. Yeah. And that set me on my path.
That's amazing. Okay. That's fun to learn. And you said new thought, and I feel like for somebody that's listening, that would be easy to get lost. So do you want to define new thought? There's a ton of new thought leaders, but it is a thing. It's a new consciousness or a new approach on a philosophy of life.
Yeah, it's a way of living. Instead of believing or thinking that things are happening to you, it's the opposite. It's that things happen through you, that I am an instrument, and that I am the creator of my life, not I am the victim, or I am at the mercy of whatever happens outside of me. So it's a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in how I perceive the world, that whatever happens in my experience came through my mind, and I'm the creator of that experience. And therefore, if I'm creating something that I don't want in my current reality, I have the power to change that. I have the power to change the results that I'm experiencing in my life. So I think that's a very simplified way to talk about new thought.
Yeah. So the first time I heard new thought, I was like, what? Like I already think what but I had to get research, and so that is a separate thing. If anybody's listening, and you can type in new thought consciousness and you'll find lots of stuff.
Yes.
So because it is a test on your mentality to let that way of being really sink in. So when was the moment that you noticed, oh wow, it's really anchored in?
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Was there a time?
That's a great question. I feel like it's come in chunks. So it wasn't like years and years and years, and then it's like I've had these chunking moments. That's the best way I know how to describe it. And I would say I've had one, you know, in the last 3 or so years, like another like that's happened. So I've had a few of those.
You want to share one of the stories? I love these.
Yeah. Well, the ones that are coming to me are some of the early stories of when I first came into this. Like I was just like such a newbie. I was just, and it was just, I think back to that Rebecca in her 20s, and it's just like, she's so precious and innocent and naive, wonderfully naive. And so one story that's coming to mind, this is when I first started learning about these new thought principles, and I'm the creator. So I had this job in Dallas, and I was working at this PR firm, public relations firm in downtown Dallas. And I thought I was the cat's meow when I got this job, because it was like high rise in the downtown Dallas. I was working, we had these big name brands that I was doing the PR for. And I had left a kind of a smaller, a very small PR firm. Mm-hmm. And I got this job, and I thought, I'm like something here, because yes, I've made it. This is more money, it's more glamour and prestige. And so there was just this, but pretty early on when I got this job, I realized, oh my goodness, I have made a mistake. I'm not happy working with the people I was working with. The owner of the company and her partner were not my people. And I was very unhappy with their style and their energy. Yeah. I don't think I even knew about energy then or had the words for it. But as I'm sharing this story, I'm like, wow, our energies were just like a complete clash. Mm-hmm. And so I was so unhappy. And I was like, I can't stay here. This is not my place. And so I know several people had recommended, oh, you got to stay for at least a couple of years because it's going to look bad on your resume. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't believe that. I thought, I can't do that to myself. I'm more important than what's going to come out on my resume. So I started looking for a new job pretty quickly. And at that time, I just started going to Unity and learning about, oh, I can create a different result. I can create my reality. And so I started interviewing, and I found a great job with 7-Eleven. I interviewed with the 7-Eleven stores, which are based in Dallas. And the interview went so well. And I thought, I've got this job. Because there was a connection. There was an energetic match. And I got the call, and the woman, the woman that I interviewed with said, I'm sorry, we gave it to another person. And I was like, oh my God, I just knew that job was mine. And so I go back, and I'm still working at my job that I really hated. And one day I'm sitting in my cubicle that I still had a view of the downtown skyline. And something may have happened, but I just came to this place when I'm sitting in my cube, and I just said, I'm done. I am going to quit this job and have faith that something better, that there will be a net to catch me, because I value, and I'm not sure if I said these exact words, but the energy of it was, I value myself and this is hurting me. And I can't stay here any longer. So I made the decision. I didn't have another job, but I just said, I'm going to step out on faith here and trust that I will be taken care of. Mm. So I said, I'm quitting. I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice today. So after I made that decision, this was in the morning, a couple of hours later, I get a phone call and it was from 7-Eleven. And Margaret, who became my boss, she said, the other person didn't work out and we would love to have you join us. And so I was like, oh my God. And so I was pretty amazed at how quickly, like once I made the decision, it was just this immediate whoosh of this new job came in. It was double my pay.
Oh, great.
Double my pay. And it was, instead of a full-time job, it was a 20-hour job. So I received double pay, plus I was working half of the time. And so it was pretty amazing. So that was like one of those, oh my God, yes, I'm on to something. I'm on to something. So that's a good story. I have some more like not so good stories. One is coming to mind that I'm happy to share.
Sure. Of you creating your reality of like whatever.
Kind of, I would say like the chunks that.
Yeah.
So.
Start to anchor in.
Yeah. Yeah. So Unity was like around 92. And then the next year I realized I wanted to move and I knew that Dallas wasn't my home. And so there's a story there, but I picked Marin County, which I know you live there.
Yeah.
And so I'll say I was guided to move to Marin and leave Dallas. And so I left Dallas in 1994 and I moved to Marin and I didn't have a job. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have really any money. I had maybe $1,500. And that first year, the first couple of years were rough. They were rough. And the first year I lived in Marin, I moved 13 times.
Yeah.
And I was in this, like trying to find work, a fulfilling job. I was, searching for, really, I moved because I knew I was going to meet my soul family. I love my family back in Dallas, wonderful people. And I knew there was something more for me and that there was a greater level of depth in relationship that was calling me. And so I moved and so I really struggled financially. I struggled in love relationships. And I struggled in really finding the right job. So there was like lots of movement. I mean, physical movement, 13 times moving, jobs, going from here, going from there, doing this, doing that, like whatever I could do, I was doing it. And many moments and many times just on my knees and in prayer, in desperation, crying out, what is this? Or what am I supposed to do? Or I wasn't fully living in integrity with myself. And I can see that now looking back. So the story I want to get to is just, it was maybe a couple of years of living in Marin, and I was starting to stabilize somewhat with a home, a job, and financially, like things were starting to, but I remember driving around in my car, and I think I'd had moments of this previously, but I was just in this question of, what am I here for? Why, what is all of this about? And there was this times where I just felt like there's got to be more. Or no, it wasn't even that. It was, I'm trying to, it was, I know I'm struggling with the words here. It's okay. What it came down to, Jessica, is I didn't feel like there was a reason to live. And I was like, what is the point in this, in my life? And I felt completely lost or hopeless. Like there was no point to my life. Mm-hmm. And I questioned whether I wanted to live. Mm-hmm. And I remember driving around in my car, kind of even remember where I was, Larkspur area. I think I was driving maybe on my way to my chiropractor.
Okay.
On Magnolia in Larkspur.
Yeah.
And I just remember crying. I was like driving and crying and asking the question of why even live? Like, what's the point? What's the point of this? And in that particular moment where I was asking, what have I got to live for? I heard a voice.
Okay.
And the words love came through. It was just simple. You are here to love. You are here to love. You are here for love. You are love. And it was like I hooked on to that. It was that voice, whatever those words I heard, the love message, it was very simple. It wasn't like, oh, this is your path and you're going to do this and you're going to go off and do that and write this book or touch these people. It was very simple love. And something in that, the simplicity, I just hooked onto it. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm here for. If that's all there is, okay, I can live with that. I can be that. Mm. And I believe that literally saved my life.
Yeah, that's a really sweet story. I mean, like not the pain part, but the evolution. And so as I'm listening to your story, it looks like you had this 20-year-old version of yourself that you weren't really happy and you wanted something more. And then like the universe is like, all right, I'll hammer you out to make you become the person that you have to be for the life that you want. And then it's like, okay, we're going to give, she needs all this hardship.
I like that imagery of being hammered out. I felt, yeah, it did feel like that.
Yeah.
Like I was being hammered relentlessly for quite a number of years.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. I've noticed the deeper I go into the spirituality and the manifesting, and you know, at first manifesting is so cool, of like, oh my God, I wanted $20 and I found $20. And you know, like, oh my God, it's happening every day. And then like that gets easy, so it falls away. Or maybe this is how it has been for me. And then, or it gets boring, I don't know. And then the bigger and bigger things, as you want the bigger things, then it's like a longer period. And then with like, okay, this is what you want, we're gonna help you get there, but like,
Yes. Yes.
until you get to the bigger stuff that you want.
Yeah, I get the sense of being like, just it's like a clearing and a cleansing, so that I can be this unobstructed vessel.
And now you are that. I really see you as an unobstructed vessel. And I really see like you or your soul like sitting in your heart all the time. I don't, since I've known you, I've never perceived you to be out of your heart. But yeah, I think you're really anchored in now.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. And it's interesting. Yeah. I would say the last, like we talk about, I mentioned chunks. The last 3 to 5 years, the chunk has been going is this heart, but then moving it down into my belly, my hips, and having my voice come from my root chakra.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking and trusting myself from that really deep place. So I think there was a tendency where I stayed in my heart and then I would be up in my head. And the journey has been bringing the divine even more into the fullness of my body and connecting it with my human self. And so that's been in the last 3 to 5 years, deepening.
Yeah, I could feel that when you got your voice higher, like your energy went, I was like, wait, no, come back down. And then as your voice got deeper, I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been more of the journey I've been on in the last, I'm guessing it's been like 3 to 5 years that it's been deepening and intensifying through the work with Rachel Jane Groover and other wonderful teachers and mentors and different books I've been reading, and just in my own journaling process. And yes, where I finally feel like I know myself, I can trust myself, and I'm okay with my humanness.
Can you talk about that, being okay with your humanness, or like getting there?
Sure. Do you have a specific question?
Like, what is the humanness? Is it like the critical voice of like, oh, I should have done that better?
Yeah.
Practice more.
Yes. All of that. Or just in the moment, like, ooh, I'm feeling awkward, or, oh, you know how earlier couldn't quite come up with the right words as I was sharing my story. And I used to freak out, like my insides would be going crazy. And yes, I would go into, oh my God, here I am. I'm being interviewed. This is being recorded. And oh my God, I'm losing what I'm going to say. And I would just get all wound up around it. And a lot less so now. Like, it's like I was aware, like, okay, this happens. You're telling a story and the words don't quite come. It's okay. It's okay. I'll find them. So compassion, as you mentioned earlier, that's something I've really been working. The self-compassion has been huge. So I let the critic have a voice. I let the part of me that doubts myself or wishes that I had said something or did something differently. And I let her have a voice, and then I speak to her from the voice of love and compassion, and just give her a lot of care and understanding. So I've learned to just love my humanness, and it's okay.
So the first time I went to go see you speak at that, I think it was a yoga studio in San Rafael.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the things that drew me in to work with you, because I was wanting a coach when we went there. And then I sat next to Kate, who was one of your clients, and I remember I was like, wow, I want to be like her. How did you do that? and yeah, you did fumble a little bit, but you kept going, and that was like what the hook for me. And I was like, oh, I don't know. There was something healing in witnessing somebody that, like, okay, clearly she's doing way better than I am right now. and it's okay. And there was something healing in that, and like, oh, I can do that too. And I want her to help me.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, thank you for that. I love hearing your perspective after all these years. I think that was about more than 5 years ago now.
A long time ago, yeah. And
yeah.
I remember I was wanting a coach, so that worked out.
Yes. And you've come so far and done so much in all these past years. It's been amazing to watch your journey and be part of your journey of unfoldment. And
yeah, actually I have come a long way.
You have. It's been incredible, Jessica.
Yeah. When I started working with you, I was living at home and I had $40,000 in debt. And then like a couple months later, I started my first business. And then I think 2 years later, I think I paid everything off.
And you moved, got your own place.
Yeah, and then I moved into my own place and I bought a brand new car. No, I think I bought my car right before, but that was part of the debt. And then I started, because of you and your suggestion, I started coaching. And then I was like, this is what it is. This is what I'm meant to do.
Yes. You did the money coaching, and then you became a certified art of feminine presence teacher.
Yeah, and then that was like, I'm in heaven.
Yes. And it's just, incredible to
Now I'm
watch.
doing podcast interviews.
You are.
Yeah, thank you,
Amazing.
Rebecca. That's really a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's been just such a joy. Pleasure to be part of your journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're speaking at the Soulful Speakers Club and
next
sharing your story. Yes, sharing your story and stepping out into greater visibility and coming out with your course.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's coming up.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That's this is a success moment for people that are watching.
We're basking in the just the flowering of Jessica coming into your full divine potential.
Yeah, and of you. Well, I guess we're getting a little bit close to when you have to go. So you talk about the courage muscle and the trust muscle, or the faith and the compassion. And I'm wondering, do you have any daily practices that you do, or do you have some kind of suggestion that somebody could use for themselves to exercise one or all of those muscles? Because I know they're all related.
Yeah, the daily practice I have is journaling.
Okay.
And so that is my number one and practice and my safe space for me to express everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it gets poured into. So that's my full expression place.
Okay.
Is in my journal. And I do receive messages too. And a practice I started, I don't know, in the last, again, 3-5 years, is asking for guidance in my business, specifically asking for what's the message to share with my email list today. I'm working on getting an email out. And then I hear messages. I hear, or if I'm about to speak in front of a group, or maybe I'm teaching or leading something in the Soulful Speakers Club, I'll take time to ask, what's the message to share with this group today? And then I'll sit and quietly and receive the answer. So I take the time to receive often, and then act upon that guidance. That's the big part of it, is when I receive the message, to not discount it or question or doubt, but acting upon it is a big part. So for me, so it's been so healing to journal and let my inner critic have her voice, and also remember to allow the voice of love to have the last word.
Beautiful. I love that. Like, let it all out, and then, okay, voice of love, what do you have to say? Yes, that's great.
Because I know that's truth.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Well, thank you, Rebecca. Do you have a free gift for people listening that they could go to your website to
go to my website at RebeccaMassoud.com. I have a Soulful Signature Talk template that that everyone can download, and use that as a guide for crafting your signature talk. And so that's a very simple template. It's like a way to get you thinking about and structuring your talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can download that from my website. That's
great. And then for those of you that are considering working with Rebecca, she's amazing. And the Speak, Shine, Sell workshop is really fun. It's, I think, the most fun way to go to like that scary point of being out there.
Yes.
It can, you know, getting up in public can be really scary, but the environment that Rebecca creates and the women that come, and men, when I went, it was women, but I know men work with you too. And it's a really safe, supportive environment, and all the people there want everybody to get better. So it's a really fun, just high vibe day.
Yes, fun and highly practical, getting women entrepreneurs, it's like getting their sea legs, getting more comfortable, feeling more confident in their speaking and being visible. And that's the words sacred container have been coming to me to describe the Speak, Shine, Sell workshop.
It really is that, yeah.
That it's a safe, sacred container to be able to fully show up, to express, to practice your message, to be held and encouraged, and then the highly practical, because you get a great first draft of your signature talk done.
Yeah. And do you have the next event set, the next date that you're doing?
October. Yes, I think it's October 28th and 29th, I believe. Yes.
So it's fun. You should do it.
Yes, I've been doing it now. This will be my 24th workshop.
Yay.
So, yes. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. This was really fun. And yeah, Rebecca's website, I'll post it below, but it's RebeccaMassoud.com. And my website is fulfilledandabundant.com. And thank you for listening and watching.